Nice. Welcome to this session number 8. We are going ahead, going to show you a special part of BMS platform where you can customize your projects in a really special way, because scripting engine is one of the most valuable tools that we have. On the other hand, year by year, this BMS solution has been improved a lot. And also from the point of view, from the integrator's point of view, making all these complex things simple for us. We have seen in the previous session a conditional event that is in the Web Manager, one of the tools that we have inside the scheduler app. In the past, we had to do these things using scripts. These special things were not so trivial. Easy. In this session, I will explain you different ways to do things. 3 different tools we will see. The logic, that is a new functionality from not so many time ago. The scripting module, that is really important part of the server and really powerful, but it's only used 1 or 2% of the times in some cases. But when an integrator and really special functions, creating virtual items on the fly, analyzing connections for the clients and visualizations, there is a lot of possibilities. Almost everything can be done with this script. And there are some examples also already done, but if you are not expert in scripting, we are lost sometimes. I will try to give you some simple examples, useful examples, in order to see how it works first and how can we do this scripting. But it's important to know the syntax. It's important to know the structure of programming software. So it's not for everybody, let's say. But first, we will go to the logic module. Logic, it's a module that we have installed also. We have it here. It's a logic module. So there's some configuration about tag, variable tag, variable names, language settings. Nothing to change here, because what we are going to do is a specific example to show you how this works. So, for example, can be used for the following. This logic module needs to define a parsing definition. So let me open my own example here in order to show you what is the syntax for this. Okay. So imagine that we have an item, a specific item. For example, this Modbus has a lot of information, for example, here. Well, hope it will work again. Yes, we are getting information. So in some of these elements, I put it in the comment that have a voltage, for example, but it's multiplied by 10. So because in Modbus, we mentioned when we talk about Modbus protocol, many of the manufacturers only use integer values. So it was not easy to get the value in real value. Let me take whatever other element that is not giving problems. For example, this one is more stable. So if you wanted to see whatever element, the voltage, for example, in this case, the notation, I did it a bit different, but it's the same. It's 0.1 multiplied by 0.1. Want to see this value exactly in this in the right value, we can use the logic module. We can do a parsing definition to convert this value and divide by 10. So to do this, we just need to know the item ID that we can copy from here, for example. Okay. And in the parsing definition, let's to a new definition. We can put a suffix, corrected, for example, or let's say, okay, more simple. And in the selector, we put the item, okay? My specific item. But in this case, it's important to change this backslash to double backslash, because for the parsing it's important, it's an internal thing, that the backslash has a specific meaning, so we need to have it double. Just this thing to remember. This is one example, and this is the item, okay? And then I need to do this data type, access mode, etc. It's by default, but I need to do a conversion. So I need to create a function. In calculation function means that if I get the value, this is in, I have to modify this value. So the item or the value has this text value. So what I have to do with this value, multiply by 0.1. This is what I have to do. So item, the new sub item with this suffix will be created by this parsing definition, by this logic module just behind the item. So if I save, I don't need to, as you remember, if it's live, it's not necessary to restart the server. And if I take a look on the item, I go there. Now I have to remember which one was. I think it was this one. And then we should have one specific new item with suffix OK, that it's corrected, because it's by 10. So you can do this anytime, okay? But of course, be simple if you have several things to convert. So imagine or remember, we have, for example, in our aliases, you may remember that we have aliases and 8 different rooms, and each room, for example, has the temperature in Celsius degrees, okay? In Celsius degrees. What if I need this temperature in Fahrenheit, for example? We can use, of course, the parsing definition, creating a new definition, but instead of doing 8 conversions, we will do on the fly for all these for all the rooms, only once. Definition is necessary to do this. So, for example, the suffix can be Fahrenheit, and now I know the item is, let me check, one item is this for one of the rooms, but I need to define for all the rooms. So what is the range? The range in brackets will be from room 0, floor 0, 1 to 4. I close the bracket, and the range for the number of the rooms is from 1 to 2. So this will make for all the rooms from 01 to 04 floors, and from room 0 to 2 with double backslash, it will do the conversion. Data type in this case, we can say it's a float, for example, it's a real, and the conversion, we need to put the formula to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit. In this case is our value, that is something, multiplied by 1.8 and with an 32. This is the conversion between Fahrenheit to Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay, I just save, and we can check. What do we have? We have the temperature converted into Fahrenheit. So, and this is an item for us. It's exactly the same item, but with dot Fahrenheit in So we can use our visualization if necessary. So this is the first approach. The parsing definition help us to do all these conversions. Very easy. And creating a sub item that I think, if I'm not wrong, maybe my colleagues can correct me. It's not considered for the license. Just a sub data for this. So logic module, very interesting. Maybe Akshay, you can put also the knowledge base link for our colleagues where the logic module is explained, but it's more or less what you can do. Just to remember that if you want a range, you put in brackets the range of the items. So this is again another reason of using aliases, because we can organize all our items order by rooms, for example. So it makes us much simpler to do this kind of processes, this kind of operations, because we have all the temperatures of the room are with the same name depending on the room. So the only things that change for every item is this. So aliases again is one of the secrets we will use to get a successful project with the least effort necessary. And also remember that double backslash for the item ID in order to make this logic, this parsing definition work properly. Suffix, okay, important, and just in calculation function, it's got calculation function, in processing type, in processing resource, whatever it's explained in the knowledge base. But normally 99% of the cases with these two examples is enough to do things. That's good. But maybe we need some more sophistication or a specific name of the item converted or whatever that makes us necessary to do other strategies. So let's go to talk about the scripting module. Okay, logic module, it's good, but we need more sophisticated tools. Let's go to talk about scripting module. So in this case, first of all, I would say my colleague Robert told me it's a new functionality that I didn't know. But before I told you how to get the folder where all my project has all the content in, and I was trying to search it in the computer, but we have here exactly that workspace path, so it's not necessary to find the C from files or whatever. It's here, so it's fantastic. And I remind you that we had the scripting files folder here, so this is what I am going to show you also from the edit scripting button. What you get when you press this button is exactly an access to that folder specifically. Okay, so it's another way to go to the workspace folder. And as you can see, we have several files, in this case 8 files, but as I told you, the main file is NX8 definitions. This is the main thread for the, let's say, for the LUA scripting module. LUA is a specific scripting engine that can be embedded in other software. So this is the reason why we are using LUA. It could be Python in other softwares maybe, but here we use LUA. LUA is also common for other building automation solutions we know well. So it's really nice if you can program in LUA. In the documentation of the training, I will include some books, some LUA books, but is the one the software that we use. Also because it's possible to create our own commands related to our own items, so we can integrate very well the scripting in our item tree, because we can manage items, create items, delete items, supervise items, whatever, give initial values and all these things. So it's object oriented for our items, is fantastic, and we can use it. The question is here, if we only use one scripting definition, we can have a problem. I have done double click, so we have an editor for the scripting. But as I was telling you, it's good to think how to manage all this scripting, because imagine that you have or you need an iteration in scripting is, for example, from A equals 1 to 1 million, do whatever, and then add 1 to A. And again, this iteration lasts a lot of time to conclude, to finish. If you need to do this kind of iterations and you put everything in the same scripting file, you have to understand that the script files executes one thing after other thing. So until the end of the execution of the file, this file is not restarting again to the beginning of that. So it's important to make different parallel process if it's necessary. So this is the reason why we have different files in our scripting module. So as you can see, we have 8 files. And this is the reason why we have this require block from the beginning. So the first thing that we do is require these functions. So for my explanation, for my examples, I am interested to do the same, to have a specific file for my examples. So I will create a specific file for the training examples. Let's call it examples. To do this, we need to create a specific file, but it's very easy because you can do it on the fly. Just open this edit script folder and just write a name. Just writing a name, it's non-existing. So I am going to open a file that is not existing, but the system is intelligent and it creates that file for you. So it's a new file that is called examples. I can show you, it's here. My examples will be here. Okay. Examples, the first one, it has been just now created. But of course, in order to make this working, we need to require. So it's very simple. Just add a require to my examples file. Not necessary to put .lua. Okay. It's also understood by the system. So this is the first approach. I will write my examples here. Now it's empty. I just save. And if you want, you can restart the engine module, the script engine, if you want, but not the BMS platform. It's not necessary to restart the BMS platform. So, and what I'm going to do first of creating some examples is to explain what do we have in these NX8 definitions, because it's very important also for you to understand that the scripting module is totally engaged with the BMS server, and it's doing a lot of work on the background. But also it's important for you to understand that there is a process, there is a starting process that is critical to understand. For example, there are two different ways or two different functions, very important, from the very beginning. One is the onInit event, and the second is onStart event. And they are different. They are different because onInit event happens, as you can see, we have some comments explaining this. It's very good because we have added this comment. onInit event function is called on initialization of the server process. This is a point where the item tree is not yet fully initialized, so we can create items. The virtual, let's say, custom items can be edited in this time, and we will do it. We will do an example. So function onInit event is doing initialize system xcon. I will talk you about this in a few minutes, but also, as you can see in this comment, you can add your custom items here. For example, there is one example here created in comment. Comment means two hyphens. If I remove these hyphens, I get active this. function. NXA is a NETx automation, a specific function for Lua. All these functions, NXA, are several. I will show you now how to know all these functions, how to see all these functions. Add custom item. Okay, so these function arguments are simple. A name, my item, a description, custom item one, a write access, all means readable and writable, read and write. The type of this item, there are different item types, as I will show you, real, booleans, date, whatever. So it's important to describe a name, a description, the write access, the type of the item, of course, and then a possible path to organize in folders inside a custom branch that is in the item tree that I also mentioned 2 days ago, but we will see this. So this is an example. I can create a new example, very simple. I am world champion in copy pasting. So let's see. Copy pasting, so world champion. So if I create a new item, let's say Julio's item, my own one is the description, but I will show you one trick before configuring the rest of the things. If you press Control and space, Control key and space, you get all the possible things that you can select. A lot of things in Lua, but many also related to our BMS. All that start with NXA are for NETx automation. You can see here a lot, huge amount of functions, control and space. Okay. So if you write whatever, it's filtered by this. So if you write whatever, access control space, no, it's not. Now, it's filtered, but all the functions you can choose in NXA access. It could be all, only readable, or only writable. So let's do this here in my definition for my item. Control space, I will say it's only readable. For example, it makes no sense to create an item that is only, to create a custom item that is only readable, in my opinion. It's just for you to understand. And how many types I can choose. All this. You can define a Boolean, a date, an integer, a real, or a string. Let's say it's an integer in my case. Okay. And folders, training folder, rooms 0101, if you want to create also items related to the rooms or whatever. It's just an example. But it's important to understand this is executed on initialization of the server process. The very first thing to do is this. And then we can get new items, for example, here. What is this function for? Initialize xLogic that I mentioned you before. I will show you that scripting file. It's really complex. Please don't touch because it's internal. Well, if you want to touch, just understand that something will happen. This Lua script is awesome. It's fantastic because this is the script that is creating that last branch of my item tree used to communicate with a COM port or with a UDP device, also with these shortcuts to do some specific actions, or TCP communication, or even HTTP driver, and so on. So COM driver is only one possibility to connect here because it's one definition. But as you can see, in my systemxcon, it explains us that it's possible to create a second example for COM interface. This is in commented mode, so this is deactivated, but I can easily activate this syscomb because this syscomb or COM2, it's also here. We have a, well, UDP system is the first thing they created, UDP subsystem, TCP subsystem, HTTP subsystem. All these things are internal. RSS subsystem, COM subsystem, the first COM, and the second COM interface is here. So if you need more than one COM communication, serial communication with the computer, with a converter, of course, you need a USB converter to serial port, I guess, then you can do it. So when I restart the server afterwards, you will see the result. I would just restart the engine. Just for you to understand, this system XCon is created in Lua. It's fantastic. It has been created, all these drivers, in Lua. So this branch is depending on that file, so please don't touch that file. But continuing with our NXA definitions file, okay, the next event, the next function is on start event. So after the creation of the item tree, but during the server startup, but after the initialization phase that has finished, now the item tree fully exists. So we can do logics, we can initialize items, we can do tasks or whatever, because we have items to do so. So on start event, we can do several things. For example, set a value, that is a function, it's in comment mode, but I can set a value for whatever item, again with double backslash. Remember that for this parsing or working with items in the scripting module, we need this, or write a value. What is the difference between set and write? Set is giving value to an item in the BMS, but not in the field bus. If you want to turn it, you have to write a value. You have to send the value to the real world. Okay, so we can test, for example, have booleans item 21, for example. Let's remember this boolean number 21, and we can also turn on a specific light or whatever if you want. When the server starts, you can trigger whatever function. For example, turn on lights of a specific board or whatever. So I can just take an item value in my alias, for example, for the last room, this item, central off, it's very easy. And then I just put this to true, remembering that we just need to put double backslash. Also, you can do logic functions. Logic functions, the most typical way to use logic functions is with xLogic. I will show you. It's nonsense for me to do logic functions in scripting because with xLogic, with modules, it's much more easy for everybody. But if you want to, or you need, imagine to have an OR gate with 50 inputs, you can do it in scripting, also very easy. You get all these inputs here and you write the result in the last one, so for example. So it's, all these things are also possible. And then when the server stops, you can have here functions to do whatever thing on the stop event of the server. On the script init event, for example, it's also typical. The script initialization on script start. For example, imagine that I want to inform you that the script is a script engine starting. I can do a nxa.log. I know that there is some log options, like for example, log info. This text, for example. So I will show you. If I save and restart the engine, you get here this message. Can you see this? In the last, it was, but the Modbus error was not helpful. A script engine is starting, was there. Has some issues with some Modbus device that I have imported now, but it's okay. I can show you another way. On script stop, it's also possible to do things on second timer event, for example. You can do some things depending on every second, every minute timer event. So I will show you the same example. I will copy paste. I am master of copy pasting. Every single second, I will write in the log, hello. I guess I have wrote it well. No, it's better to select it. Okay, so if I restart the engine, I will get the message. Script engine is starting, and every second you get hello, 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 every second. This is just for you to understand that you can do things every second. You can do here an iteration with some values and do it every 20 seconds because you have an iteration counting up to 20 and then executing whatever, every whatever minutes because you can have a function on minute timer event. Let me put in commented mode and restart the server because it's annoying to have this every second, and it's also wasting memory in the computer. So on minute, on hour timer event, so the timing events are also possible here. And of course, things related to connected clients. Clients can be web clients, visualization clients. It can be OPC clients. So there are many different kind of clients that you can also monitor. But all these things can also be used. The xLogic can also be used for doing all these things. So normally we don't go to scripting modules to do these things. Also on KNX gateway connected event with an IP address on KNX gateway disconnected. I think this is more an old functionalities that were created several time ago because we can monitor this directly. So we have our items related to gateways, so you can monitor this item directly. So it's very simple to do this kind of alarms. If the gateway is false, you get an alarm. So we have seen how to do that. Also, they are related to the room. So it could be created a template in this case, even without the need of the aliases. So it's really interesting, and it's not necessary always to go to the scripting specific event, but it's very powerful because you can do a lot of things inside this scripting event. So let's restart this. I will press here, restart server, to see the small changes we have done. Remember, we have created two custom items and we have initialized two items. One will become the turn on of the light of the last practical board. I will show you just the status of the lights. You don't need to see the camera because it's not necessary. And the other was the Boolean item number 21, as far as I remember. So let's see if it's working fine. It's restarting the server. So all this process of creating the item tree and after this creation on init event, the start event is initializing values. You will see how it works very easy. Some seconds to see. Starting, and I will here on. I will tell you and show you also when the item tree is there. in a few seconds. There it is. Now the lights are on because I have here all the, but I will show you. It is aliases that room, and you can see that value was true, and we get all this message from my Telegram module, and also var boolean 21. It's true also, so it's working fine. It's initialized, but of course we need to check in the custom branch. We have building a floor one my item. This is the one example that was created by the example itself. It was already created. It is a real 64 with all permissions, read and write. But in my case, there is a room 0101 with Julio's item, my own one, that is integer and only readable. So it's what it has to be, what we did create it that time. So these items are also virtual items for us. So it should be also checked in my license if we have spent, yes, now we have 10 virtualizers or some other virtual items we have integrated. They are considered virtual items. If you don't want to have these items, it's very simple. Next time we start the server, we put it commented mode. And also if you don't want to initialize this value, and then the next time it will be not happening. So let's go to my examples. Let us do some examples. We need, for example, to convert some items. Let's see. Let me choose some items to convert. I have a Modbus, my inverter, for example, and I have several things that could be interesting for me. Or maybe in my power tags, that's also interesting. This I'm not wasting energy, so it's complicated to get. Okay, maybe in some of these. Yeah, but this is corrected. The only thing I need is maybe to divide by 1000 these values. Well, we can do. Okay, let me get this energy consumption that is in watts per hour. I want to convert it in kilowatts per hour, but I will do for all my power tags in the same way with only one script, only one specific script for all of them. So how to do this? Or create a script that can help me to convert whatever signal into another value. So the script is one thing, but we need to use another tool to recall this script. So this is done in an extension. You may remember what was the virtual link definitions with the source and destination that was writing from source to destination when the source change writing to destination. Okay, we have these virtual link definitions, but I will show you something similar that is task definition table. It's similar because we have the source and destination columns, but we have also, let me show you, convert to definition this. Do between source and destination. You want to write exactly the same value, so it's equivalent to have a virtual link. You want to write a specific value only. You want to set a value, not to write but to set. You want to execute a read of destination, or you want to execute a script, and that's it. We can relate source destination within a script, and this is what I'm going to use. Of course, I have source items I can show you. My source items will be They are not in aliases, but they are in Modbus. My power tags, I hold in the register this item, specifically this one, okay? For all my power tags is the same, so I don't know how many power tags I have. 150 to 156, okay. So it's simple for me. Copy paste, because the register is the same for all of them. So I will do it later. But the question is, okay, what is my item ID to write the result of this value using a script modified by a specific factor? I will mention or I will tell you about the scripting now. I need items to write the destination value. So I don't have these items, but I can create it also. I need, I think, 7 items. Let me show you. And I will do it with virtual items. So there is also a folder here, a table here, sorry, for virtual items. There is one example here, global off, wherever, so you can see in the item tree. This was the example of virtual items that the server showed us. There was one specific virtual as an example, okay? But I will not use this. I will create 7 virtual items, name, energy, 0, 1, whatever. The name is not important. It's just different parts of the energy consumption of my home. A path, home, variables, energy, for example. Whatever description, and now the item has or needs a data type. This is important to select the right one. If you select integer, you are not doing a good job, because I will multiply by a factor, so it will need decimals. So float, that is real 32 bits, it would be good. Maybe double real 64 bits is also good, but float is okay. Access rights, both needed. Okay. If you want the value persistent or not, it's not important. Synchronize with the backup server may be also interesting to have it. But let's say yes. You can link directly with a real existing item. It's not the no. I will just create it values, sleeping values, waiting for another process to write on them. Okay. In fact, I can also create on receive or on send execute a LUA function, but these items are sleeping or will be sleeping, so they will not be used this function. So just creating these items. I will do 7. Or maybe 6, because the last one I think is not working fine, so I will create 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Because I need to define items for these tasks. System 2, system 3 with energy measurement 4, 5, and 6. Okay, this is just an example. Then I will show you my home project that there is a lot of virtual items created for this reason. And exactly the same script to use this. So energy, 6 items, virtual items that we haven't created yet. I will save and I will restart. Yes, and then we will create our example, our script with a specific syntax that is important to understand. I will create a very simple example that you can use. It's very simple. To convert one source to one destination multiplied by a factor. So that's very interesting as a first approach, as first example. Okay. The second example, while the server is restarting, I can tell you, I will do another script to convert a Boolean status, true, false, like on off of a light, to a value. It could be just 1, 0, because we would like only to add a number of lights that are on, for example. This is a good example. How many lights are on? I don't know. I just have to count it. This is true, 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 and false, so 4 lights. If you want to add values, that values cannot be Boolean, because true plus true is not 2, it's true. It's like a funny sentence, but true plus false is not 1, it's just true, and true plus true, it's not possible to add Boolean values. So we need to convert these values into numerical values. So we can use a scripting to do this. And then, as a second approach of this script, maybe we can even give values. When it's on, it can be 20, and when it's off, it's 0. And why? Because maybe we want not just to know how many lights are on, but also how many power is activated in terms of power. And so you can use this to estimate the percentage of light that is on in terms of power. Or if you use, for example, for floor heating, and you have different zones, but maybe one zone is 12 square meters, so there is 20 square meters. So you can know how many percentage of these square meters are active or not active at the same time, whatever. This will be the second example. Okay, we have to finish the first example. I have created my virtual items, home, energy, 6 energy values, real values. You can see it's real 32. Okay, so I can go ahead with the example and then finish with, let me close this virtual link definition, with the task definitions. Okay, but I will go there afterwards. I can close this and focus on my script. Okay, so my first example will be a function. So let's say function, and then you put a name here, whatever name, X, for example, whatever. But I will use this name, multiplication factor, for example. You can include parameters. Let's say I need to specify which is the factor. So I just create a parameter. You will understand much better when I apply this function. But the name of the function is important. Multiplication factor, for example, MF, if you want. The name is not important. But the script itself is very simple. What I have to do is to take the source value, multiply by the factor, and write the result in the destination value. So I repeat, I get the value from the source. So remember, we have source item and multiply this value by the factor and write this result in the destination item. So this has specific syntax in LUA, NETx Automation LUA's engine. And this syntax is, I take function, I will write destination value that will be my source value, whatever. This is the syntax, multiplied by the factor. And this is my function, nothing more. You need to understand the syntax. It's not easy. You cannot imagine how it is. It is what it is. I will write destination value, source value, and so. Of course, we can do this in a different way. You can there are other options, and I say write value and the destination. So there are other ways to do this. There are different ways to do this, but I have simplified this example. So we have our function multfact, okay? We have our source items with values and another destination item. And this is not only useful for this example, it's useful for whatever item you have to multiply by 10, by 0.1 or whatever. So multiply or divide by a factor. So we use the same. Let me just save and restart the engine because it has to be active. But I have just to remember multiplication factor, multfact. To finish this example, very simple. I go to task definitions. I say, okay, my power tag 150 will write a value to my virtual energy consumption number 1. So this is the destination. I will delete this. In which way? When you receive new values, that is true by default. Okay, this is the only case here because this is the only value that is going to change and execute the function. If you force the value, you should put here true also. If you force the value manually, on send value manually, or on set value was true also. With or without a delay, that is also important if you want to do these delays. In this case, is 0 by default. And I will call a script, and the parameters is the name of my function, multfact, and in this case, a real value, 0.001, because I know this original value is in watts per hour, so I want it in kilowatts per hour. If I save, I can maybe check if it's working. I have to maybe wait a few seconds to get the new values, or maybe I have written this in the wrong way. Maybe it's with comma. Sometimes I have to check because it is different between one part of the tool and others. Task definitions can be saved without restarting the server. Okay, so I guess it should start working. We can do the test also if it's not working in fast, because also this value is not going to change, of course. I maybe can write a value 5287064 to force this value to be changed. But it's complicated if I'm not wasting energy. It wrote 0, but because it was 0 at the beginning. Okay, let's do it with the rest of the elements, because if I am not wasting energy in some of these elements, I am wasting energy. So I promise this will change, but maybe I choose an example that not so many changes, but it has to work. So the process is just select a new items that can be changed on the fly like this. Okay. And this. And all of them will use the same script that is generic. It's not specific for one item. It's for all the items that may need this conversion. Save all. And let's take a look. If we get some, we will. If we get some changes, we will see. But it's not changing every second, of course. We may have to choose a different one, but okay. Let's wait for the next value to change, and then you can see if it's working fine or not. What I'm going to check if I put right the comma or the dot. Is a comma or is a dot? It's a dot. Okay. My mistake. It was a dot. So this is the reason why it's writing 0 and not the result in kilowatts per hour, for example. Just save and check. It will change in a few seconds. Well, the good news is if to do it for other elements that I am interested in to have the information, for example, this voltage divided by 10, I can do it also on the fly. I can take this register, copy, and go to task, and go here, new definition, here. I write this, and I will choose here a bar numeric, just for do it on the fly. So, because this is much faster than, and then I execute multiply and factor, but in this case, the script will be only divided by 10. So if I save and I show you this bar item numeric 1, I'm stupid because it has to be real. Sorry, because it's one of the worst mistakes you can. It has to be a real, not a numeric. Numeric is integer. Okay, it's my mistake. Yes, it has to be a real item. Numeric is an integer, so it is doing nothing. Well, it is the entire value of the voltage, but not with decimal. Numeric real 1, and then, well, we are getting values here. That's good. So you can see that it's working fine. And here, should also. If I save, maybe. Yeah, we are getting this value. So it's a good example, very easy to create. I show you again the script for you. You will have the examples also, this examples file, you will get it. But it's not complicated to copy paste. It's very simple. Remember, control space, NXA dot whatever, and then you can filter. You can filter by the name that you are writing. So it's not complicated to find, oh, it was write something. Okay, write value, write destination value. You have different options. With control space, you can see this. So second example. Okay, let me create a new script to convert Boolean to numeric. In this case, we have different items. I will show you again status of the lights. I'm closing here and go to aliases again. 6 lights. 1 status path, status whole path, left, right, on-off status, I mean, okay? On-off status for ceiling, on-off status for bed. 6 lights per room. And I would like to know, as a first approach, how many lights we have in the room. So we will use this as an example. So we have to do 3 things. 1 script to convert Booleans to numeric. Second, we should create new items if you want to to write these values and these numerical items, but I will use this bar, in this case, this numeric values to write here 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. So these values, converting Boolean to numeric, will get 1 or 0 in this case, first case. And then I need to add all these numbers. So the third step will be to make an addition of the numbers. But for this addition, I will introduce you the X commands, the xLogic commands. And not to create one xLogic that it will be explained in the next session, but to use existing X command. So I will show you. So let's do this example. First approach, to do a scripting just to convert Boolean to numeric, okay? So go here, I will create a new function, Boolean to numeric. Let's say this, not necessary any parameter because it's very simple. And then I will do it in a different way. I will use an if, then else. So if nxa get value of the source item ID. And this is a different way to get source value. So source item ID, as far as I remember. If I get the value, and this value of the source item ID, I close equals true with double equal, then it's very simple. I will write a value to the destination item ID. It's a different way to do these things. So write destination value is equivalent to write the value to the destination item ID, but it's shorter. And get the value of the source item is equivalent to source value. It's the same, but shorter. So it's a different way. Okay. So I will write the value in the destination item ID. 1, this will be the value. Else, it's very simple. I will write 0. Copy paste. And I have to end the if then else, and I have to end the function. This is to do a script. So let's check if it's working or not. Let's check it. Function Boolean to numeric, B2N. It's very simple. So I repeat, if I take the value from the source item is true. So I remember the syntax is important, because if you don't use this paragraph, it's working. So it's important to understand that destination item, you need this, then you assign a value with the comma, but you do the comparison with double equal. So it's necessary to understand the syntax of the language, but it's not really complicated, but you need to know it. So let me save this and then go to the task definition, because we need to create new definitions. For example, let me go to the aliases, the first room, for example, let's say, I have my list and I have my status. Okay. I will write the result. I don't have virtual items created for this, but I have my bar numeric integers. Okay. This number 1. Okay. And I will execute a script. It's called Boolean to numeric without parameters. This is what we need. So the same, if I copy paste for the 6 lights, I just have to remember the name of the lights. If I'm not, it was whole both path left, right, ceiling and bed. And I'm just writing in this on the fly items, numerical items, because the source items are Boolean, and it's not possible to make operation and mathematical operations in principle, and the same script. So this is the way we will work. So let's check. If I open the item tree, I will remain this open, and I turn on, for example, all the lights. You get 1, and if you turn it off, you get 0, and the dimmers last a bit more, but it works. And now I need to know how many lights we have on. So I'll propose you to do an addition of these numbers and write the result in the number 7. So you can see very fast of lights on or off. How to do this addition? I will introduce you the use of X commands. Okay, we have the xLogic module, but we have already created these X commands. So I will open, just to show you as a first approach, xLogic module to create X commands or to use or to check or to learn from other existing X commands is this. It's a button. You can open existing X command and you will see all the library commands that we have seen from the web manager. You remember that we use messenger, no? Messenger, send telegram message. This is the X command for this. So you can also check what is happening in all these elements. I just have to understand that there are some math add module that can help us to add values from the beginning. I can open just to show you that it's already created. You don't need to do anything. It's sophisticated. They have created a module with up to 10 inputs and 1 output. Of course, is the addition of that, but also with parameters. Are you interested in writing the value to the bus or not? Verify the quality of the items before. So it's really complex. So verify the quality is not trivial. So it's really complex. It's verifying if all the arguments exist and so on. So I will explain in the next session all these things. Well, not all, but some of these things. But the question is that this module is working. It's just calculating add multi. It's using an internal module. So the possibility to use up to 10 input values, different inputs. Then you get a result, and you get the result in a local variable. That is also possible to use local variables. So what to do? If you want to write or not, you will write or you will set the value. That's already created. You don't need to think about this module. We just have to use it. So we don't need to use the X command module in order to use these modules. Where do we have to select these modules to use? Not in the task definition, because there is only one source and one destination. Not possible here, because we need to get the 6 inputs and write in 1 output, so not possible to do this. But we have another, in the extension menu, another table for the X command event definitions. So I can just select this. I will delete all this and then insert a new definition. For example, the name of the definition itself is this. I'm not using local or global variables, so it's not necessary here. This is very important, the type of execution. This is the type of execution. On input change, could be on start of the BMS, on stop of the BMS, when the value change, when a specific change of one value, when the value is rising, falling, above a limit, below a limit, a specific timer, so every single seconds, or every single seconds, and when an input change. That's really nice. Input is enough for case because I have 6 inputs. Every of that input change, okay, let's do it. You can also trigger on start, a synchronous call. I don't know what it means if I'm honest, but it's maybe another interesting function. But it's enough for us. Input and on start also. And then the options is just this, the result of this. And then I select the X command. The X command is again all the library of X command, the same that appears in the web manager in a different way because it's web. This is a PC application, but we have my math options with my add module. So you can see the different possibilities. Some of them are optional, so I have to say yes. I want up to 6 inputs. Where are the inputs? My inputs to add are my numeric values, not the status. The status are Boolean, remember. So I have to select the different numerical values. Of course, we have possibility to copy paste also. That's faster. World champion in copy pasting I am. Number 4, 5, and 6. And you want to write to the bus? No. And verify quality? I don't mind. Maybe yes. Why not? Because the quality of the signal is the red or green color of the item, you may remember. As I have red on reconnect, I will get always the right status of the lights if I am doing the right job. So verifying the quality ensures that you get the right information and you are not adding or not considering lights that maybe are on. That's good, no problem. And then I write the output in this item number 7. Okay, that's it. Nothing more to do. That's it. Just saving, and this is again live window, so it's not necessary to do things. We should have the result in the variable number 7 the next time we execute this. For example, central off. And we have the number of lights that are on. Let me turn off some light for the whole. And now it's 5 because we have one light. One light is off, so we have only 5 lights on. If I turn on again, it's really nice execution, really fast. You have an item here that you can put number of lights in the room, in the room 6, 7, 5, 3, and do whatever you want with this. If you have more than 3 lights in your house simultaneously on, you should get an alarm. Remember to turn off lights, wherever thing, because this is possible to just to use. And this was this approach. I will very fast to finish the example with a better of this example. We have an example with a function that is just converting a value to 1 or 0. But what if I do this better? Let's say this function Boolean to numeric, okay. Using value true, comma, value false parameters. Value true and value false, not just 1 or 0. I can specify if the light is on, maybe it's spending 100 bahts. If it's off, maybe it's spending 1 baht, but something. It's so I can select. So if I do this, I have a new, really, 2 seconds to change this with parameters. So I can save this and use it and show it to you. To use this, I need to copy, and sorry, my task definition table. I will do the same, exactly the same definition, okay? here, I will use numeric items from 11 to 16. But I will not use this. I will use Boolean to numeric OK. And imagine if the light is on, it has 100 watts, and 0 if it's off for this light, for example. And this light, for example, has only 10 watts, and this has 500 watts, and when it's off, it's 1, and whatever. So let me show 10, 0, the rest of the lights. So if I do this, it's very simple. It's a new function. It was a copy of the short modification of the previous one, and then we can check if it's working fine. Let's see. Numeric from 11, okay, and my alias central off. I'm trying to fix the window properly. Okay. Off. Okay, it was on. And when they are off, there is one but in this. And if they are on, they have a lot of values. And now the addition of all these values to finalize the example, it's very simple. I just paste this. The watts for the lights in the room, it's math add, but we are adding items from 11 to 16 and write the result in the 17, for example. Just say OK. It's really easy. And again, if I do the forcing the values, there it is. So 0 to turn off. We have 11, but because the dimmer lasts a bit to turn off, or maybe now it's 1. And if I turn on the lights, it's calculating 640 watts. So if you turn off a specific light, for example, you can also, this is the total, turn off the left, I think is the one with 500 watts. Yes. So you can also, in percentage, you divide this by the total and you get a percentage of the watts that are being used in your installation. This can be applicable to floor heating, to ventilation, whatever. It's really simple. Just a tool to do these things. So sorry, because I haven't seen if there's some question in the chat. Not everybody is attending. I hope so. So this is the last example for this session. Next session will be continuation of this logic explanations, but we have seen scripting module, and now see the xLogic module to do some examples with these X commands and so to modify and improve the example from the conditional event we haven't finished yet, and the messenger telegram message with values and so. So thank you very much for your attention, and see you again